Hello, everyone. Welcome to Strictly Sports Talk Week 4. Chris is Joshua, Christian. We are continuing our talks through the free agency and draft. And today we are going to look at the AFC West. Before we get started, as always, Joshua is going to walk us down some of the news from the week.
Um, the Niners, running back, Christian McCaffrey is going to be on the Madden 2025 cover.
Don't know if I love that, although I don't believe in the Madden curse. So excited for Christian McCaffrey and the opportunity. As a 49er fan, I'm pretty stoked that he got the cover. Been a long time since we have had such a great running back. Looking forward to the Niners this year. Go Niners. Let's get it done. What else we got?
The Bengals receiver Jamar Chase at mandatory minicamp as he seeks new contract.
Mad respect for Jamar Chase because there are a ton of people holding out of mini camps. That seems to be the status quo year after year. Jamar Chase is there. He's in. He's representing. So love that. Love Jamar Chase. Hopefully he can stay healthy this year. Him and Joe Burrow, and let's go Bengals.
The Hall of Famer receiver Calvin Johnson single season receiving record bound to fall at some point.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, you think of Calvin Johnson's record. There's been so many records. I'm just curious who can touch it. Trying to think through the list, and I don't know if I get it done. Like we've got a different world in the NFL, and I have a lot of injury concerns for the people that I think could touch it. So we'll see what happens. I like to think Calvin Johnson's record is probably safe for another year.
The Chiefs signed receiver Mecole Hardman.
Cole Hardman and the Chiefs. What do you think about that?
Well, he is the Super Bowl hero probably of that whole game because he caught the touchdown.
I mean, Mecole Hardman's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens. We'll get into the Chiefs here in a little bit since we're talking AFC West. I like Mecole Hardman. I think he probably is a little too diva for what he's done. But from an overall standpoint, talented receiver, good speed. Chiefs love speed across the board. They drafted speed too, and so it'll be interesting to see with Rashee Rice and everything else where Mecole Hardman fits in. Drafting Worthy in the first round is big, and so getting to that speed, and we'll talk about it later.
Aaron Rodgers, Hassan Reddick missing Jets mandatory minicamp. Absence is unexcused.
And there we go with people missing mini camps. I mean, I gotta say, Rodgers should probably be excused. You want him to stay healthy. At least no contact, I would think for sure, but we got all these people that are missing camps, and here's two of them. Anything else?
The tight end for the Giants, Darren Waller, retired.
Waller retired. What do you think about that?
I think it's gonna be interesting them playing with that Waller. I think he was a key player for them.
I think Waller was a key player. I mean, they drafted a receiver. They've got a legit receiver, but losing Waller, I gotta wonder now if we're not gonna have teams doubling. I don't know who's gonna take the pressure off. So I think that Waller retiring is a big hit. What do you think?
It's not good. They have no one now on the offense, really. I'm excited to see how they're gonna play with very limited weapons.
I think they're gonna struggle. I think they're still rebuilding. So yeah, it will definitely be interesting to see what transposes. Big loss for the Giants. All right, well, without further ado, let's jump into the AFC West, and we're gonna go bottom up as usual, and we're gonna start with the Denver Broncos. What do you think about the Denver Broncos free agency, Joshua?
I don't think they did that well. I think getting a couple players that was good for them, but I think they really struggled on defense, and I don't think they really secured the defense or really their alignment this year. And yeah,
How'd you grade them out?
huh?
How'd you grade them out?
Oh yeah, I gave them a C.
All right.
Christian, what do you think?
I think they did a good job covering the pieces they lost. Here's the thing, is the people they used to cover those pieces aren't really huge weapons, in my opinion. I mean, Tim Patrick, a little bit in the middle. Josh Reynolds, I wouldn't say he's great either. So I gave him a B just because I think they should have maybe gone out and reached for someone good.
Alright. I mean, that's interesting. I would have think they would have liked to. I think Denver is struggling. Right now, they are burdened by the salary cap constraints of a player who's not there. So obviously we know Russell Wilson went to Pittsburgh, and so did millions of dollars of the Broncos salary cap. So from an overall standpoint, I know Denver is kind of cap constrained because of Russell Wilson's contract. I think they lost key pieces. They lost Justin Simmons. Obviously, they traded Jerry Jeudy, Jonathan Harris. So I think those are some pretty big pieces to their team that they lost. I like bringing in Brandon Jones to replace Justin Simmons. Brandon Jones is a very physical safety, big downhill threat, good against the run, good on pass rush, decent in coverage. So I like Brandon Jones. This is gonna be his first year as a starter, so it'll be interesting to see how he develops in that starting role. Josh Reynolds, good deep threat, was pretty good in Detroit. Obviously, I think he gets dinged for the championship game and his two big drops. I think that's really like just kind of like big game pressures. Josh Reynolds isn't really a guy who's known for inconsistency. He's pretty consistent, but has not had pass drop issues in his career. In fact, I think the past few years he's maxed out at 3, which was last year for the whole season, and then obviously he had 2 in that championship game. But I like Josh Reynolds. He's kind of that transition piece right now as they're starting to rebuild in Denver. Malcolm Roach, decent signing. They struggled on the D line. He's not going to be an upgrade, more going to be a stopgap with Jonathan Harris leaving. They restructured Tim Patrick. I like Tim Patrick. I pray he stays healthy this year. Obviously, we know he's had huge injury issues. Brought in little Jordan Humphrey and re-signing Adam Troutman. Will Lutz. I think they did a pretty good job of like keeping pieces in. They're not like significant pieces. I did like the signing of or acquisition of John Franklin Myers. Again, struggling on the D line, but I gave them a C plus. Again, like we said, nothing spectacular in free agency. I don't think they got better, but I do think they probably somewhat covered. Christian, what do you think about the draft?
I think they did a really good job. First I want to start off with obviously Bo Nix. A great quarterback, including at that position. Also liked how they bought in Troy Franklin, a receiver of his back in Oregon, and yeah, I think they did a great job overall. I think they definitely got bought in pieces to help them, and I think a lot of these pieces will probably start. And so yeah, I gave them an A.
All right. What do you think, Joshua?
I think they did fine. I would have liked to see a bit more defense because I feel that's what they've been struggling with and why they haven't really been able to win as much. I think I would have hoped to. I do like the draft of Bo Nix and Jonah Ellis. I think they were good picks. So
Did you grade him out?
B minus.
B minus. All right, I'm gonna split the difference. I gave him a B plus. Overall, I like what they did at the beginning of the draft. Bo Nix, I think he's gonna transition well into the NFL. He wasn't graded. I think he was number 6 on a lot of people's boards. I think the thing I like most about Bo Nix is a very quick release, very accurate, and I think those two things transition well into the NFL. So I'll be excited to see what Bo Nix can do. Obviously, I do think Denver is still in rebuilding. I like that they brought in Troy Franklin as well. Obviously, someone he's comfortable with. They still have some decent pieces across the board. I also like the edge rush on Joe Ellis. I think that was a weak spot for the Broncos, but I agree. Wish I would have seen them concentrate a little bit more. I like the Chris Abrams pick, Audric Esteem. You know, again, I would have liked to have seen them go defense kind of across the board. I feel like that was their struggle. But yeah, overall, it was a serviceable draft. I did give him a B plus again, and I think overall I gave him a B. The Broncos did well with what they did during the offseason. Again, given the constraints they had with a lot of their caps sitting with a player that is going to be taking snaps in Pittsburgh potentially. Yeah, they're in that rebuilding phase. So I expect them to kind of maintain and finish at the bottom of the division. Josh, what do you think?
I gave them a C. I would have liked to expect more from them. I don't think they did that well in the off season. So
All right. Christian, what do you think?
I kind of gave him a B plus A minus kind of area. I still would have liked to seen bigger pieces added in free agency, as well as Josh said, actually maybe some more defense. And so yeah.
All right. Very cool. Well, we'll transition on to the next team, and we're gonna move to the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm still not used to saying that. San Diego still pops to mind. We're gonna move to the Los Angeles Chargers. Joshua, what do you think about the Chargers in the offseason?
I think they did fine in the free agency. I did like the signing of Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins after losing Austin Eckler. I think the signing of DJ Chark was also really good after losing Mike Williams. I think they did pretty well. So
All right, Christian, how do you think they did in the offseason?
They lost 3 weapons here. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. And they lost Austin Eckler. That is pretty much your whole offense. So, and yeah, I don't know if they did a lot to replace it. I mean, DJ Chark, I think, is a good receiver. I don't think he can replace the loss of Mike Williams, nor Keenan Allen, and I don't think nor Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins are going to be able to produce as much as Austin Eckler does on a season basis. So I gave a D.
All right. It's hard to argue. I mean, I gave him a B though. I think Gus Edwards is an undervalued running back. I mean, he's not Austin Eckler. I'll be straightforward in that. But I think he's definitely undervalued. I think he can produce well. I think they're gonna be a running back by committee. In San Diego, they have obviously now Edwards. They've got Dobbins. They also have Spiller. They signed Patterson from Washington. So I think ideally speaking, there's some young talent coupled with Gus Edwards, and I think a committee is probably going to be in order, but I also do feel like there's going to be a transition there and they're going to go to a more pass heavy offense. Obviously, you know, they've turned over pieces on the receiving side. I don't think Mike Williams, talented receiver, constantly injured, so I don't view like Mike Williams necessarily as a huge loss in that sense. I do like DJ Chark. I think DJ Chark can emerge. Obviously, he's got talented receiver, good speed. They've also brought in some other speed, which we'll talk about in the draft. But I think you put Chark in with quarterback that has a cannon, for an arm, and I think they will complement. I like Will Disley. I think he's going to be the starting tight end. He has shown glimpses in Seattle. I like Hayden Hurst. I think he's going to be again another serviceable tight end, adding to just passing weapons for Herbert. I think overall, they've added a few other pieces, but again, nothing just earth shattering. There wasn't like a star brought in, so understand some of the lower grades that we've got. Christian, what do you think about the draft?
Okay, so they're gonna get a big jump into a good direction. I give him an A, and here's why. First of all, Joel, great tackle. Hopefully he'll protect Herbert's, including since Herbert has been injured seriously a couple of times. And I also like how they covered their biggest need in receivers. And they got Ladd McConkey early, and they kind of went a little way and got Brendan Rice and Cordelius Johnson. So overall, I think they did a great job covering their two big needs, and I gave an A.
Joshua, what did you think about the draft?
I think they did pretty well. I think getting Joel out in the first round, I think that's really gonna help them. Because I think they really struggle with linemen. I think also getting Ladd McConkey was another really smart decision. I think after losing Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, and I think hopefully maybe he will help them. So I think they overall did pretty well.
I too gave them an A, so A across the board. Obviously we talked about Joel, great tackle, probably the most highly rated offensive lineman in the draft, in my opinion. He will definitely anchor an offensive line and that pass protection for Herbert. I like Ladd McConkey from Georgia, very shifty. I think he's going to be a great slot receiver, even a deep threat for them. After letting go of Williams and Guyton, they still have some good pieces. They've got Chark, like we talked about. They've got Palmer still. I think adding in Ladd McConkey and that speed side is going to be big. I think he'll contribute initially right out the gate. I like Junior Colson. Obviously, we know Jim Harbaugh is now the San Diego coach, and he starts off by bringing in another fellow Wolverine in Junior Colson. Colson is great in coverage, great in run, can hit, can tackle. So I think he's going to be an addition to the D. Again, we talk about corners, Tariq Still, Cam Hart, two corners that I thought were tremendous value. I like Still, just a fierce player, very physical. Cam Hart, again, one of those corners, great talent, very athletic, I think a high ceiling. Taking it around later, I think he probably needs a little bit more polish than Still, but I think we're going to see some big things there. Brendan Rice for me. Now, granted, I'm a 49er fan. Hard to get past Jerry Rice and that legacy aspect. I feel like that was a steal in the 7th round. Great hands receiver out of USC. I think he should have went sooner. Watching the draft, I was waiting for him to come off the board. And again, Cornelius Johnson, another Wolverine. I think he's got good high upside. I think, again, route running might be something he needs to work on, but good depth at that receiver slot. Christian, what did you think overall in the entire offseason? How'd they grade out?
Well, I think they did bad in free agency, as I said, but I think they recovered a lot of receivers and things they needed in the draft. So overall, I gave a B minus.
Joshua, what do you think?
I think they did pretty well overall. I would have liked to maybe see a bit more defense. Yeah, overall I give him a B plus.
All right. Josh is big on the D. He's a defensive guy. I gave him a B plus as well. I know, like we've talked about the big pieces that have gone on from San Diego, and I think there's a lot to overcome. think there's still like a good level of talent, and really the success is gonna be on Justin Herbert and his ability to really spread the ball around. I mean, I look at the weapons. He's got Shark, he's got Palmer, he's got Ladd McConkey on the deep side, Quinn Johnson, Brendan Rice, kind of as more possession type receivers. On the tight end side, you've got Disley, who I think will start, Hurst, Parham, who have shown glimpses of receiving, but all three of those good receiving tight ends. You're gonna have the running back committee with Edwards, Dobbin, Fidel, Spiller, Patterson, Dotson. Like, I mean, I think there's plenty of guys there that can contribute on that running back side. You're not gonna replace any one of them is not gonna replace Austin Eckler. But quite honestly, I think the Chargers with Herbert in his arm will just solidify more into a pass first offense, and we'll see what they can do. I mean, again, I don't know if they've done enough to make up any ground to really compete. But it will be interesting to watch, in my opinion. So now let's go to the Raiders. Christian, what did you think about the Raiders free agency?
I think they did a decent job. A really big piece was added in Christian Wilkins, and be great. They also have Crosby still, so yeah, good D line there, good D line upgrade. Other than that, I wouldn't say anything too crazy, but yeah, so I gave them a B minus though. I don't think they did terrible with the rest that they got.
All right. Josh, what did you think about the Raiders?
I think they did pretty well. I don't think they did that bad, but I would have liked to see a bit more defense. So yeah, I gave them a B.
All right. I gave them a B as well. I think they locked in some pretty decent pieces. Andre James, getting him to the extension for 3 years. I think he's an emerging center who has shown improvement and will kind of be an anchor for them for the coming years. Christian Wilkins, like we talked about, and Crosby. That duo is going to continue to be deadly. I like Gardner Minshew. It'll be interesting to see. I think Aiden O'Connell is going to start for the Raiders, but Minshew is a very serviceable backup for injury or if there's any fault in Aiden O'Connell. Outside of that, I feel like they did a pretty good job of addressing pieces. I like what they did in the O-line with Jordan Meredith, Cody Whitehair, Andres Pete. To me, that was probably one of their weaker points was the O-line last year. So I liked some additions, some depth. Josh, what did you think about the draft?
I think they did pretty well. I think I'm getting Brock Bowers and Jackson Powers Johnson. I don't think they were bad picks. The West appeal I don't know much about, so yeah, I give them a B.
All right, Christian, what did you think about the draft?
All right. Well, kind of similar to when I gave him a B minus for agency. I gave him a B here. Big fan of Brock Bowers. I think he'll be a great tight end. For them, and Jackson Powers Johnson, another great center. May or may not be a starter. I really don't know, but yeah, I think they did a great job. So I gave him a B.
All right, I gave him a B plus. I'm gonna go up a little bit. I think they did a good job of bringing in talent. I do like Brock Bowers. Obviously, I think he's a real weapon there. Will take some of the pressure off. I think they still got some talented receivers to couple him with. So I think Aiden O'Connell was added a great weapon. Jack Powers Johnson out of Oregon. Liked him as a center with the signing of Andre James. I think more than likely his shift to the interior. Again, they were kind of weak on the interior side of the L-line. And so I foresee Jack Powers Johnson switching him to a guard spot. In the third round, wasn't really in love with Del Margolese from a tackle position. Again, I feel like they were weak on the inside, didn't understand the pick, thought they could have went somewhere else. I also think in the third round, he was a bit of a reach, so wasn't really happy there. Kamari and Richardson from Mississippi State. Again, I feel like it was a good value pick, strong corner, good run defender. Tommy Eichenberg and linebacker from Ohio State. Good run defender, good vision. Really good at chasing down the run. So I think there's value there that they grabbed in the defensive side. They added other pieces, Trey Taylor from Air Force. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think they did a pretty good job. And I carved them out with a B+ for what they were able to add. Christian, what did you think of the overall season?
Why not? If I gave him a B- in free agency, a B in the draft, why not just give him a B again? So overall, I already said the problems they had, and yeah, just give him a B across the board.
All right, Joshua, what did you think?
I gave them a B, so I would like to see a bit more defense in the free agency. Overall, I think they did pretty decent, so.
I gave them a B as well. I was kind of teetering on the B to B+. But again, that reach in the third round with Dilmar Glaze, I would have liked to have seen something different there. Again, with Joshua, I would have liked to have seen them go on the defensive side of the ball a little bit more and kind of anchor some of that from the AFC West perspective. They finished second last year. I think they'll finish second again in the division. I don't think they've done enough to unseat the team that we're going to talk about next. Team I don't really like to talk about. I'm not a huge fan, even though we do reside in Missouri. But we are going to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. Christian, what did you think about the Chiefs free agency?
I think they did a great job securing massive pieces to the team and also signing one person to the team, Marquise Brown. So overall, I gave him a B+. Nothing wrong there.
All right, Joshua, what did you think about the offseason for Chiefs?
I think they did decent. I would have liked to see maybe a bit more on the offensive side actually this time. I think they got a lot of defensive players, maybe a bit too many defensive players. But yeah, I think they did pretty well.
I gave the Chiefs a B as well. I think they did exactly what they needed to do, which was take care of the talent that they had in-house and bring them back. So obviously, franchise tagging Ladarius Sneed, amazing corner. So keeping him in-house was huge. Extending Travis Kelce's contract. He is getting up there in age, but it's still an amazing tight end, still a first down guarantee kind of blocking guy. Him and Mahomes obviously have amazing chemistry that we've seen over the years. Extending Mike Dana, bringing back Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Drew Tranquil, obviously Chris Jones. That was huge. So keeping him along the defensive line, he is the most disruptive force in the NFL today on that D line. Deanna Bush, Mike Pennell, so many others that they were able to just really kind of re-sign, including McCole Hardman. I think they did a good job, and I do like Marquise Brown. Obviously, we know the Chiefs like speed. Hollywood Brown is speed. And so that will be interesting to see how he meshes in that offense, what he can contribute with Patrick Mahomes and his great arm. And now we'll dive into the draft. Joshua, what did you think about the Chiefs draft?
I gave them a B. I think they did pretty well. Getting Xavier Worthy. I think he's a good receiver. I think getting Kingsley was a good pick for offense. I think they didn't really get that much offense, so in free agency, so I'm happy that they got a bit offense in the draft. I think they did pretty well though. I gave them a B.
Christian, what did you think about the Chiefs draft?
I think they did great. Xavier Worthy, great receiver. Rasheed Rice and him, I think, will work great together as the number one, probably number three receiver. We'll see how that goes. Number two, number three, whatever the order is. I love Jared Wiley at tight end. I love him, but I don't know if I don't know if he was the best thing they could have gotten in the fourth round. And since they have so many other tight ends to back up Travis Kelce already. But not a terrible pick. And then I don't even want to say his name, so I'm gonna just say his first name, Kingsley, another guy to guard the quarterback. So yeah, I gave him a B minus.
I rolled the B plus. I was very intrigued with and do love the Xavier Worthy pick. Obviously, we know previous they have the cheetah as the receiver. I mean, I quite frankly will say that Xavier Worthy, fastest 40-yard dash time in draft history. Could be the next cheetah for Patrick Mahomes. It will be interesting to see how he plays out. They have added speed between him and Marquise Brown. Kingsley Sumataya out of BYU, again, on that left tackle spot. I think he will be huge. He might even start this year. Great tackle. Will help anchor that line, no doubt. Jared Wiley, very sure-handed tight end. Kelsey's getting up there in age, and I think he'll continue to contribute. Jared Wiley obviously brings in young talent who can emerge over the future. Jaden Hicks out of Washington, smart defensive back, great at reading, and when you look across the board, I think he will compete. But yeah, I think they added good pieces, good depth, people that fit into schemes. So again, gave them a B plus, probably leaning towards the B plus. Joshua, what do you think overall for the offseason?
I gave him a B. I would have liked to see a bit more offense. And I don't normally say that, but don't think they got that much offense. I think they could use a bit more offense. So
Christian, what about you?
Well, again, I am a B plus in free agency, a B minus in the draft. So I gave him a B in the overall off season. There were some issues in my opinion. I think they could have done something better. Don't get me wrong, the players that the tight end they drafted in the fourth round, Jared Wiley, I love him, great tight end, but I think they could have drafted somebody better. And then free agency, whatever I said.
All right.
But yeah.
I gave them a B plus overall. Kansas City is the defending AFC champion, or AFC West champions, I should say. Obviously, we know they are here to defend. They're here to compete. They didn't lose much, in my opinion. Didn't lose anything. They secured themselves for the future. Brought in good talent. So they are still my favorite in the AFC overall. Strong on both sides of the ball. Chris Jones is going to continue to dominate and be a disruptive force. And I think the Chiefs are primed to compete again. So I'll say it now, Kansas City is my probably AFC Super Bowl selection. On the NFC side, I am going to stick with my San Francisco 49ers for a Super Bowl rematch. We'll see how it plays out. Again, thank you for joining us, week 4. If you like what you've heard, give us a big thumbs up on that subscribe button. We would love to see you back. Thank you again for everything.